Okay, good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon.
Welcome to our final webinar of the semester, which is also the final webinar of the year. And today we will continue to talk about end of semester assessment. And with me, I have 5 of our esteemed colleagues to talk about the different types of assessment that they are using in their courses. So without further ado, let me introduce you to our first panelist, Igor Peraza from CAT. We have Abian
Oh,
Najar from CAS, and we have Salam Du and also Amani Osman from College of Engineering,
Hello.
and we have Jeff Bick from SBA. Okay, why don't we go with you, Igor? Do you mind
okay.
starting first?
Oh, perfect.
So if you do not
Thank
mind,
you.
just share a little bit about the courses that you are teaching and also the type of assessment that you use in your class. So the
Perfect.
floor
Thank
is
you
yours,
very much.
Igor.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you, Norita, for the invitation and to hard work this semester to put this together. Very efficient, and we are very happy. Thank you so much. So, saying that, okay, as you said, I'm professor of architecture. I'm professor of practice of architecture. So, I'm teaching architectural design studio and architectural detailing class.
Okay.
So most of the time, because my experience in practice and teaching comprehensive studio is already 4 years, and detailing, that is third year of CAD.
Oh,
So that's the I would like to talk today because it's always for us quite a big challenge to think about how we can teach architecture online. Until now, because we have the studio, and the studio, we have this called like culture studio, where each student has their own desk, and they live, in the studio, and even other courses they study on that desk. But the culture of the studio, because they share all the ideas, and we saw that it was going to be very difficult how to go from that system that is so special to be online. But we last semester we did the transition. It was not very difficult. I said, the IT people are very efficient. They help everybody. They make a lot of course. Everybody running and doing things quickly to learn to. But it was good. We managed. We passed. But during the summer break until now, we have a very big success. Or we discovered many good things. So we recreate now this pin-up that we were talking before. That is, this is the week we are in the final review, where CAD is covered all with drawings. Before you used to go, we call
yeah.
it pin-up. You can see all the 2 floors of CAD covered with all beautiful drawing for all the students. So each day, different year have the presentation. But we say how we can do that, how we can, see the student work. And we found a platform, a collaborative platform called Miro. In this platform, we recreate the classroom. So I would like to share the 2 videos, small video, each one for each course I'm teaching. So the other course, architectural detailing, is a lecture course. But the principal outcome of this course is to learn how to draw an architectural detail drawing. So that allowed me, together with the lectures, trying to put some exercises where I can teach the student how to draw architectural detailing.
Hmm.
So I decided that the best for this assignment, because the third year is instead to do an exam, is to do a project-based assessment. So I would like to share with you very short 2 videos, because I feel that it's very difficult to understand how this platform works without seeing the video. So I would like to ask you for a moment and share this with you.
Sure.
Thank you. Okay. Now, what you seeing now is are you seeing my screen?
Not yet. Maybe it's loading. Can you give it another shot?
Yes. Now?
Um, No, we're not seeing anything. Are you sharing the application?
And sharing the application, yes.
Yeah. We saw that before when you were
Yes.
testing, but not now.
Okay, 1 second. 1 minute. Maybe now, let's go. Now you can see.
Yes, yes.
Perfect. Okay, so this is the course I'm showing you, and this is the platform called Miro. So you can see how the students are moving inside on the screen. You can see. So each student are uploading their drawing. You can see when they upload the drawing, the time, the moment they do it. And the good thing is in this class, I have 26 students. So I
Mhm.
have the 26 student assignment together. So I can, compare, check, correct. You can mark them, and it's really, really useful. And for them, in this platform, you can upload the syllabus, the schedule, so they have everything. You can mark each day what they have to present and what are the assignment for the day. So you can check, you can put the post-it, you can put notes, and it's really, really interesting. I think for us, has been a very important, how do I say, discovery, this platform, because before there was many whiteboard platform, but
Mhm.
nothing was like that. Like really, we could really get the communication with the students so close and so clear that we have now. And I see that today with this conversation, one of the things I would like also to discuss is not what we have been done until now in order to get with the students the communication. I think the most important is to also think about how we from all these things that we are discovering are using, which one we will keep it. Because I feel that even uh, when we come back to normal life,
Mhm.
it will be difficult to be away from this platform, because we are really get to use so much that I feel that even when we come back, we need to still using this. So how we combine this with the methods we used before of plotting, and printing all the drawings, we don't know. But I think it's important to consider that part. How from all the things we discovered during this time, what we will keep and what we just use as an emergency. The last things I would like to talk, not to take too much time from you, is since 2017, CAD, we started a program, study abroad program in Barcelona. So
Mm.
from 2017, we took the students to Barcelona every fall semester. So the students were the whole fall semester in Barcelona. It has been a really wonderful experience. The students really learn so much because they live in the city, they do the studio in the city plus other credits. So I've been so successful that this year also we have a student to go, but because of COVID, we had to cancel the trip. So I decided to create like a virtual studio in Barcelona. So you can see now is the site where we use, and you can see the students work a little bit. Uh, this was assignment already 1 month ago, and tomorrow they are presenting their final drawing. So they were going to improve much, but you can see the capacity of the student. 4 years, how much they
Wow.
can draw, and the dedication of this assignment. I say really unbelievable. And you can see we can really correct. We can red mark the drawings, and I feel this. No, I don't know, but I feel a level of communication with the student that I didn't have before, because the student feel so close when they have presented the drawing, and you can sketch
Mhm.
in the top of the drawing, and the communication has been very fluently and really good. I feel that, I don't know, but I think this has been very positive impress. I think the student maybe also because they are at home working, much production of work than before, but but the quantity of work they produce since we started this has been really unbelievable. Especially this semester, this one is. I will stop sharing now. This This semester, which is 4 year, is an option studio. But next semester in spring, I have to teach comprehensive. In comprehensive,
Oh.
the student has to do real drawings, like construction drawings, and the
Mm-hmm.
amount of work they have to produce each student maybe 60 or 65 drawings. So and the amount of work is so much, but with this tool, it's like a day by day by day we can correct
Right,
and check
right.
the project. So I've been working very positively. And as we talked before, we are now on the final week of review. So
Mhm.
each of this review takes around 6.5 hours. But
Wow.
the good thing is you share the link of this platform with the guests, with the critics that are coming, and they can find the explanation of the project, they can find out
Mm.
the drawing. So even the students, when they're presenting, they're sharing their screens. The users, the reviewers have this platform so they can move around and they can see. And
Oh,
another
wow.
positive thing is that we can see at the same time all the reviews. So you can move
Oh,
to
wow.
one section to other section. You can see something that we didn't have before. And actually before the student pin down the drawings and they take away. So grading also was difficult. You have to go to the PDF
Mm.
file, open each one, but now
Right.
you have everything in front of you. So I think also for grading is easier for us.
Really nice. So we have a few questions for you here, Igor.
Yes.
So Jeff wants to know if is it a free platform or
Okay.
do we have to subscribe?
They have a free platform that you can download, but they don't have so much good application or properties.
Okay.
The one we are using is a platform for educators. So
I
you have
see.
to you have to send to United States
Mm-hmm.
a certificate that you are teaching from the university,
I
and
see.
and and you have to say why you want to use it, what kind of courses, and this, and they send you the registration for the platform.
Hmm. This is very interesting. I mean, we can use it beyond just the studio base, I suppose, even from
Exactly.
programming.
You can design, you can do whatever,
This is nice.
especially to do teamwork. You invite
Mm-hmm.
all the team, and you can
Right,
really
right.
put your ideas, and you can.
Yeah.
The only thing that is now we have lack of this, but I think there are some version. Even if you pay, you can do it, but we
Yeah.
cannot do with the platform. So
Yes.
we always have to use a Google Meet or other platform
Mm.
where we can
Correct,
communicate
correct,
voice and the drawing and sharing the screen so we can
right.
share the screen and so the drawing. But they have some option that you can talk in the
I
same
see.
platform. But I think it's
Maybe if the interest is there, we can get the subscription base for the whole AUS. There is another question from Mark to you, Igor.
yes.
For the feedback, can it be confidential or is it just always public?
Okay, that's a very good question. In a studio, most of the time when there was the normal life, you have a conversation private with a student. Somehow you go to the desk and you talk individually. Here, you have to have the option with the studios, or depends of the
Mm,
day. Sometimes you can say, okay, you have a conversation with all the students at the beginning, and after that you call one by one, and you can share the screen.
I
The
see.
good thing is in 4 years, you can work, you can do teamwork. So I have now in this studio 4 projects that are working in team of two and individual projects. And the team sometimes one now is in I don't know in Jordan, the other in Saudi Arabia,
Yeah,
and they're working as a team now.
nice,
And yeah,
nice.
and we share all the conversation. But most of the time, the good thing about Miro, even you talk individually, they can go to the plus to the board and they can see the work of other colleagues. That's something very good.
Right, right. Wow, interesting. One thing for sure, I will definitely try this in my capstone class next
It's
semester
a,
because it sounds wonderful.
it's a
Thank you for
beautiful.
sharing.
Thank you very much indeed. Thank
Thank
you. Thank
you.
you. Thank you for listening. Bye.
Sure.
Thank you.
Sure.
Here.
I just
Thank
want
you.
to transition to Salam because Salam is also using project base in her class. So Salam, if you do not mind, would you please just introduce the course that you're teaching and also what exactly do you do in your class?
Of course. Thank you very much first for the invite and for the very nice discussion. Thank you. Yes, I have applied project-based learning in general in one of my courses, and it was last semester, actually, not this semester, in addition to other ways of assessment, but I would like to emphasize today on the project-based assessment. I'd like to share a couple of slides um, just to discuss. So do you see my slides?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, so yes, I have done the project-based learning and assessment, and the case study, or the course that I have implemented this in it is a computer science course. It's the course code is CMP 466, and it's machine learning and data mining course. And
Nice.
again, this was done in last semester, spring 2020.
Mhm.
So first, as you all know, project-based learning is it's a teaching method where the students get the chance to work on a project for maybe a semester or so during the course, and where they apply the methods and the knowledge to a real-world problem. So this course again is an elective course, and here I'm not going to talk about the project-based learning, but more specifically about the assessment. In this course, the project took like 30% of the total course grade, which means like there is a high emphasis on the project. The project, I asked the students to work in groups, and then that course offering, the students worked like the groups were consisting of 3 members. I had 33 students in the class, so a group 11 groups in total. For that project, we actually started the project at the first week of the semester, like right from the beginning. And I asked the students first to select a problem to solve, something that they like, they enjoy, something that think it's an important real life problem. And since those machine learning and data mining approaches are all data driven, I asked the students to go some websites where there are some publicly available data sets, to pick data sets matching the idea that they have in mind, and to bring those data sets to collect them, and then to write like a proposal of the idea, the data sets that they have, and submit this. So this was their first submission, and I will talk about the means of submission later on. And after that, I have after I approve those ideas and the data sets that the students collected, we start working on the project. So for every topic we do in a class, we explain in a class, I ask the students to go and take that topic and apply it to the data that they have. So we'll get like at the end different projects, but using similar methods, but to different kinds of data, different results, and different evaluation. And at the end, after submitting those project increments, I call them, because we keep applying methods, different methods, then we apply the evaluation criteria and all these things. I ask the students at the end of the semester to submit a final report summarizing all these components together and putting them in one single document. So I have, regarding the means of the assessment, I have used iLearn, and simply I have used the assignments in iLearn. So these are the, I did take a screenshot from the course assessment. So this was the first assignment where they state their problem statement, and they collect the data, and they describe what they want to do. And this one is actually ungraded. I just approve it and let them start the project. Those were the project increments. Last semester, they have submitted 4 assignments. The first one was like when they get the data, they need to pre-process it, clean it. They need to select some specific features out of it. So they did this and submitted as assignment number 1. Then we have covered different classification methods also. For each couple of methods, I asked them to submit them in one assessment. And then we covered the evaluation and the comparison between the methods. They apply those criteria to their, and they submit those project increments. And this was the final report submission. Yeah, so I did this in the form of assignment. I found one thing useful when you do the assignments. You know how to, I think everybody knows how to create the assignment on iLearn. So you go to assessment and then assignment, and in there you need to modify the options, right? Like the due date, for example, the maybe I need to zoom in a little bit, the points possible. And I found something useful here is to make groups. Like you can ask the students to send you the list of the team members, and you can create groups, and then you can make this assignment as a group submission instead of individual submission. So if any member of the group submit the assignment, then the others will receive the same thing. And when you grade it in the grade center for one of them, then the others will see the same grade and the feedback to all. So I found this really interesting and useful. So this is the group assignment. You will select all the groups that you made, and clicking on this small arrow will add those groups here to the right-hand side, and then you can set the assignment up. Yeah. Yeah, creating the groups. This is, I think, you may also know this, how to create the groups. It's going to the users and the groups on iLearn as well. And then you can create the groups either using the self-enrollment or the manual. For me, actually, I did the manual enrollment because the students sent me their groups by either the proposal or by email. So I have manually added them. So I think this was all about my project-based learning that I did in Spring 20, and I think iLearn was a very useful, convenient tool for that specific project nature. And I think it's even applicable, even if we go back to the face-to-face learning, I think I would still use the same tool. Yeah, so that's
Sure.
all about,
Thank you,
yeah.
Salam.
Yeah,
So
thank you very
I have
much.
a quick question. So this is
Sure.
something that you only implemented in the spring, and you haven't done anything like this before prior to the online class?
Yes, it was my very first time applying it. As you know,
Okay.
in the spring we started as a regular semester, but we had that shift.
Right.
So it was really convenient, either face-to-face or yeah,
So
online.
usually what
Yeah.
happens in the regular face-to-face environment, what do you do?
Yeah, there is one thing that I missed. I usually do for the students practical sessions, like on how to use the tools. This course doesn't have a lab. So I usually offer these courses like every other week or something. Like I dedicate one
Right.
lecture to let the students learn the tools. So again, I was like, you know, when you are in a regular lab, you can walk and see the students what they're doing on their laptops, you know, during the class. So we missed that in the online. But I was able to share my screen, and they code on their own and communicate using iLearn. So yeah, but
Yeah.
it was fine. Like it went well. Yeah.
That's nice. That's nice to know that
Yeah.
you can find a
Thank you.
solution for that. And there is a
Of course.
question for
Thanks.
you from Hannah. So she
Oh,
wants to
sure.
know about the database that you use. So is a single database that you're using, is it appropriate for different groups of students, or do you use different types of data sets?
No, it's different types of data
Okay.
sets. The students get to choose whatever data sets that they want. Yeah.
So that's
Yeah.
nice. So different group have different data set, and then you
Exactly.
have
And you
different
will end up
results.
having different
Yeah.
projects, different ideas, and yeah.
It's really
Yeah.
nice, and I like the fact that it is incremental. So
It is.
you
Yeah.
give feedback, so they get the feedback, they have the chance to improve. So very nice. Thank you, Salam.
Exactly. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Sure. Can we
Thanks.
now? I just want to move a little bit. I mean, not very far away from the project base. So can we go to Abir, if you do not mind, Abir? Can we go to you and please introduce your course and the method that you're using in your class?
Yes. Hello. Thank you for the opportunity. My name is Abir, and I will be talking about a course that was introduced 2 semesters ago. First time I taught the course was before we went into the COVID lockdown. And the first time I taught the course, usually with the courses I teach, they're theoretically based, they're theoretically heavy, but still, because I teach the course is called Global Media. So in a way, I teach a lot of concepts along, media industry sort of, empirical work, sort of how does the flow of information, media products go around the world. And one of the sort of, the points that I try to make all the time is to make the course relatable. So I always encourage the students to look into their own media consumption, to bring what they learn in terms of concept, to look at the regional media in their own home country, especially when I talk about theories of nation building, modernization, etc., and then discuss and form the way how they the way how they see global media after the introduction of these concepts. So ideally, or at least typically, in a normal world, I would introduce short answer, long answer questions directly connected to the textbook and to the case studies that I have introduced through the semester. Students find it doable, they find it directly connected, etc. Now, when we moved to the lockdown, we were faced with actually, it was, from my perspective, it was an opportunity for me, because it enabled me to introduce different form of assessment, which is the open text, the open book assessment, in which I'm not asking the students about the concepts themselves, but I'm trying to make them internalize the concepts, connect them to their real world experiences, connect them to case studies that we have covered over the semester, and then come up with a response of their own, using their own language, integrating terminology in their answers. At the very beginning, the students were really they challenged me to accept this, as this is really difficult, demanding, and they don't know what. But for me to prepare them sometime beforehand, I started working with them on examples. Like, our students, they like templates. So I worked with them in creating a template. We got a few case studies. So for example, there is the notion of a flow and contraflow in the context of global media and communication. There are several studies since the 80s. So I told them, okay, now we have learned what is a flow, what is contraflow, what is hybridization, what is cultural imperialism. Let's reconsider the presence of this and this and this media organizations coming from the Middle East in a global context, and see how contraflow is working for you guys. And how can we connect not only to your own experiences, to the concepts that you have learned, to the regional issues, and to your life experiences also as global citizens. So we ended up having really good conversations in class that had led to the focus on certain case studies. These case studies are the case studies that I introduced in the final exam for this semester, which would be based on a media organization or based on a media industry like Bollywood, Nollywood. Look at Nigerian cinema and what made it become that big. We look at Korean pop culture. We look at so many other phenomena, and they find it because it relates to their daily practices. But at the end of the day, what I try to emphasize is their ability, and this is one of the course outcomes, to connect their daily practices with international, with global trends of producing, consuming, and dealing with media products. So we're having a great time, as long as I provide templates, which means that whatever questions I will be bringing to where for the final exam, I'll have to bring similar questions, show them how to deal with them, and tell them, well, this is what I expect here. And we have to go through it on a step-by-step basis, in the sense of, okay, in grading this is what I will be looking at, which is something that would be in the exam sheet. And this is how this worked, and it worked beautifully because it enabled the students to experiment with their own ability to connect, what seemed to be as variety of unconnected experiences that they practice, that they experience in a daily basis, with the knowledge that is introduced in the classroom, and with so many conversations that they engaged in. But right now they're equipped with so much of a theoretical and conceptual understanding of their place in the world, but they're also the place of their nation within the production and circulation of knowledge and media products. So that's basically what I did with the global media.
Interesting. Now I feel like I want to sit in your class. It's very, very interesting. So basically for the exam itself, because it is very, very, how do I say that, personalized in a sense, so that it's going to be very difficult for the student to actually cheat in a way, right? Because they have to give their own personal opinions, and they have to show that they understand the material very, very well.
And it's not based on opinion, it's based on their reading, on critical.
Right.
They have to employ the concepts that they have learned in on media content that they have consumed. So they don't have to watch what I watch. They can watch whatever, but they can come back and tell me, okay, how can they understand this in the context of, for example, McDonaldization content, or whatever it is, or localization, or any other related concept.
So do you have any rubric for them to refer to prior to answering the questions?
I provide them with a template, and I and sort of directions as to how do you answer, what is expected in each one of the questions.
Okay, interesting. Thank you so much, Abir.
Thank you, Norita.
Okay, now I just want to have a very quick transition to Jeff, because Jeff is going to be talking about oral exams. So can we go to you, Jeff, please?
Absolutely. Thanks, Norita. I appreciate the opportunity to share with everyone today, and I'll be talking about oral exams. I do have a couple of slides, and I'll try to move through these quickly and allow some time for questions if people want to ask some questions at the end as well. So the course that I teach, that I'll be describing today, is MIS 388. It's Business Analytics. And I chose to take an approach for the midterms with oral examinations. I felt like it offered a high degree of academic integrity. It essentially gave me an opportunity to give each student a unique exam. Now, I'll mention here at the outset, one of the primary considerations I had at the first was how many students I had in the course. And I would encourage you, if you're thinking about this, to think about how many students you have. This was, again, something I did for midterms, but something that I'm not planning to do for final exams. If you got 20-minute exams with 20 students in your course, you're looking at 6 hours and 40 minutes worth of exams with no breaks. So it is time consuming to set up something like this. There are a number of benefits, but you also have to think about this ahead and think about whether that's how you want to schedule your exam. As I mentioned, my course is Business Analytics, and so what I would do is provide a unique data set for each student, and then whenever they saw the data set, it's something that they'd never seen before. When they saw the data set, I would have a prompt or a question or a business opportunity for them. For instance, maybe for one student, I would say, load the data set, and then I would say, tell me about the variables that are related to employment. And the students need to know, they need to know how to handle the numeric variables, how to handle the ones that are categorical. They would need to share their screen with me, show me how they're doing the analysis in the software. I expect them to walk through the graphical statistics. I expect them to choose an appropriate analytical approach. They need to be able to look at the type of data and figure out, oh, I can do this with all numeric variables, but I can't use this one because some of the variables are categorical. I expected them to know all of that and demonstrate that to me. I also wanted them to interpret the output, and ultimately I'm grading them on the process, on the appropriateness and accuracy of their analysis. I'm grading them on their interpretation and on how well they can use the RStudio environment. RStudio is the analytical software that we were using for the class, and I wanted to see that they could also navigate their way around the software as well. Again, these, as other people have said, these are some of the things that you can usually pick up when students are in the classroom and you can walk around and look at students working, but I just have no way to see that with everyone online. And so with an oral examination, I was able to see whether they can actually do something on the spot as someone asks for it. The students didn't initially appreciate this. I think they were actually terrified. And I thought that I tried to tell them, look, you could easily get something like this in a job interview. You could easily get something like this at work. There's no way you're going to be able to tell your employers one day, oh, that's a great question. Let me go think about it and come back to you in 2 or 3 days. There are times that they're going to need to do stuff on the spot. And so this is how I set my exams up. I do know that people are using this in other schools with other topics. I was talking to someone who teaches in fine arts just recently, who had something similar to this where students needed to go out and watch a play, and then the professor would schedule time to sit down with the students and discuss the play. So again, it can be done in a statistics course like I have. It can be done in fine arts. I'm sure it can be adapted to the hard sciences, the engineering, any number of courses across the university. So how did I do some of the planning and setup? I'll give you some of the nuts and bolts, the very specific things that I did. I had students sign up for a time slot. I used the You Can Book Me platform for that. I would encourage you, if you're considering doing this, think about what you need the students to do ahead of time. Are they going to need to share their screen? Are they going to need to demonstrate something? Are they doing some sort of tutorial for you almost? Think about whether you're going to record video. I actually did record these on Collaborate. That way I could look back to double check my grading if I needed to. Also, if there was ever any disagreement about whether a student said something or didn't, whether they did something properly or not, I had a record of that. For this particular example, since they were doing statistical analysis, I also had them send me their output, and if they had used the scripting window in my software, I had them send me their script as well. So I had another source of documentation, and for that matter, I could recreate every single thing that they had done during the exam. So I was able to document this pretty thoroughly in case there was ever any dispute on the grading. Another question to think about if you decide to do oral exams, you'll probably have to line them up back to back to back. And you might want to think ahead of time, what are you going to do about a late arrival or about a student who misses an appointment? If you've got 20-minute slots and someone shows up 5 minutes late, 7 minutes late, will you still start them? Will you require them to come at another time? Is that going to be a problem for you? So please consider that if you're considering oral exams. What are some of the things that you need for grading? I put together a script for myself, a set of questions that I would walk through, and that was to ensure that I was providing something that was similar in content and difficulty for each student. It was not completely free form. I did have a number of things that I wanted them to do. I also had a rubric set up for grading. I would encourage you to put together some sort of rubric or checklist so that you can see whether they're mentioning key terms, the concepts, the application, the interpretation of the material that you're looking for. I mentioned earlier I had 4 categories on mine, and so I had a rubric set up for grading. I would also tell you, obviously, you need to have some unique questions or problems or cases or articles or data sets. I had 19 students in my class, and I had 19 data sets for them to get. So I was excited about the fact that I could have a unique exam for every single student in the class. I think that even though they knew I was going to get online and ask them, hey, analyze the data set and provide an interpretation, the fact that the data was unique and the types of variables were unique made that different enough that I think everyone felt like they were getting a custom exam. The way that I reported feedback to the students, this was actually one portion of their midterm exam. It was one portion of their exam. And so I created a question on iLearn so that I could then go in and enter the feedback. There was a place for me to type feedback for them. And so that's how I was able to provide the results to them. Finally, if you're thinking about doing this, think about how you're going to take notes and evaluate the exam. Are you just talking to the student, or are you taking notes as they do this? Also, if you're going to video the session, I did mine on Collaborate, and one thing that I discovered shortly after the exam was that it stayed up, and there was a brief period in time where I think that other students could have viewed each other's exams. Dr. DeBeer, thanks for the question. Yes, I do introduce new data sets, absolutely. I've got a tremendous number of those, and there are actually a large number that are built into my software that I use, and so I've definitely got some new stuff that I can put in. For that matter, I'll go ahead and tell you that our Studio software, it has about 100 data sets built into it, just that are already available. And so if they want to go through and analyze all 100 data sets on their own before the exam, that's fantastic. They're going to learn something while they do it. I don't mind if they study that way. Last point that I have on this slide is, will you give students feedback immediately? Students would finish the task that I had given them, and then they would stop and say, okay, how did I do? They're ready for feedback. And so I had to tell them, look, I know you want to know right now. I do have another appointment scheduled. I'll be happy to set up a time to provide feedback for you later. Let's make an appointment. And so then I would provide some written feedback for them. I would also set up appointments if they wanted to do that after the fact. Providing feedback on the spot, I thought, was going to be difficult in terms of keeping me on schedule. And I also thought there was the possibility that some students would be really amped up and stressed out, and they might become argumentative at that point. And I really wanted to avoid that. So that was the way that I approached feedback. Finally, why do I do it? As I mentioned earlier, I think that the oral exams provide a high degree of academic integrity. And in spite of the fact that it is a terrifying experience for them, I think that it builds rapport with students. It's actually a way that I get to sit and see them and talk with them and interact. It's customized, a customized exam and customized feedback for them. So it really lets me know what's going on and what their skill level is, and it lets me provide some customized input for them. Okay, I'll stop there. If anyone has questions, you're welcome to ask or drop them in the chat window. You can also obviously contact me via email. I'm happy to help out however I can. Thanks, Noreen.
Thank you so much, Jeff. I mean, it's just somehow remind me of my qualifying exam. For my PhD qualifying exam, it was all oral. So it was so nerve-wracking, but I love it. To me, the advantage of oral exam from the perspective of a student is that you have the opportunity to do a lot better. I mean, to me at least, to explain yourself, to show that you actually understand the concept compared to just a written exam. But again, for you, obviously, it's a lot more work. You have to think about it. How do you control this time, by the way, Jeff? So you said it's 20 minutes. So what happens if the student goes beyond 20 minutes? Do you stop them?
Yeah, I would stop them. It was difficult for them. Fortunately, it wasn't a problem except for one or two students. But there were one or two where I said, look, I can see that you're struggling here, and I can see that you're not going to complete this on time. Time is one of the factors on the exam, and I need you to do it and show that you can do it immediately. I know that they could go get out their book and figure it out in an hour, but I was testing to see if they had the skills in their head, not had the skills in their book. So I did have to stop a couple of students, which we have time constraints on every exam we do here.
Yes, Akmal, you have a question?
Yeah, I have a question to Jeff. I have tried almost the same strategy that you have applied in the spring, and one of the points, as even with the students are back to back, some students would have a difference of like 4 or 3 hours between each other. So they talk to each other about what questions do you expect, and if some of them struggled with it, they might discuss it with their colleagues, so they help their colleagues, and our students would do that a lot. So I was struggling how to keep fair among all students and not to be too tough on some of them and too easy on some of them, at the same time not repeating the same questions. So I don't know, how did you treat that within your course?
Sure, it's an important question and something to think about. Again, I've got unique data sets. I've got unique variables that they have to look at. I do feel like I was able to vary that. This is always a difficult line for all of us to walk. If anything, I suppose you could set this up where you're giving slightly more difficult data sets at the end of the day. Again, that's difficult to navigate a little bit. I just felt comfortable because I had so many different variable types. Again, some numeric, some categorical, some binary. I really felt like the students were getting some unique problems thrown at them. And maybe a linear regression worked for some, but others had to know to do a logistic regression. Other ones had to know that it was a classification problem and not even a regression problem. Some needed to know about regression trees. I felt like I'd varied the data sets enough that even though my overall question was, hey, analyze the data set and give me conclusions, I really felt like I had enough variability in there that even if they'd talked to their friends, they were going to get something that was still different.
All right, thank you so much, Jeff. Thanks, Akmal, for asking the questions. In the interest of time, I think we have to move to Amani. Amani?
Yes,
Yes.
Norita, thank you. Thank you all very much. It's such a pleasure to be here today. I would like to thank my colleagues because I learned something from each one of them today. And well, I have about 12 minutes, so I will try to stick to the time. I will share the slide. Can you all see the slide?
Yes.
Okay, so today I will talk about students' response systems in chemical engineering courses, and because I've taught lots of chemical engineering courses from the, let us say, second year or principles of chemical engineering to the master's level. But in particular, I would like to focus on thermodynamics, which is a second level course. So just to give you an overview of the topic today, I always share this picture with my students. So this is me when I finally understood thermodynamics. So hopefully this will prepare you for what's next, which is the level of difficulty in this course. So what we do is we, in this course, we introduced several concepts that are coming actually from nature. And we have to give credit to scientists, particularly in physics, because this course came from their several contributions of those scientists. And here's one of them. This was a German scientist, and he actually described thermodynamics as a funny subject. The first time you go through it, you don't understand it at all. The second time you go through it, you think you understand it, except for one or two small points. But the third time you study it or you go through it, you don't understand anything. Only this time you get used to it. It doesn't bother you anymore. So I can speak about myself. I got used to it. So here's the problem. This is part of the problem. The second is it has so many challenging. I think, yes. Can you all see the slide now? I think we missed it. Yes.
Yeah, it disappears somehow.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
it's back in.
So the problem with thermodynamics is that it's challenging, and we throw at students these abstract concepts, and basically they are coming from things that we observe in nature, and it has some philosophy at some point. So they can easily lose interest in this course. And another problem is that it's a fundamental course. So we build on it for other courses as well. So it's being taught in the second year level. So it's very important for students to understand it. So we have to do the best we can so that we can help them understand it. So how do we understand thermodynamics? How do we encourage students? We have to get them on board. We have to get them engaged in the class itself. So what I did is I tried several techniques, and this is based on actually published research. So speaking of Rich Felder, who is a professor of chemical engineering at North Carolina University, he tried several methods of teaching, and he reached the conclusion that cooperative learning or active learning is one of the best techniques out there to get students on board. How do we do that? We have to involve the students directly in the learning and in the teaching process. This was done by face-to-face, but I continued doing this online in the spring and in the fall of 2020. So we practiced different things in this course. And at the beginning, well, we have to be brave as instructors, because the students, they often get hostile about this. They don't want to participate directly in this. They don't want to take a decision. They don't want to bear a responsibility of solving a problem or being part of a team or a team leader. This is one thing. Also, another thing is the challenge itself in the level of problems addressed. So I tried different techniques, but what's important is, so these are the techniques that I tried either face-to-face or in the distance online learning. So what's important is how to measure the success of these techniques. And I used here, I used Kahoot in order to measure the success of these several activities in the classroom. With this, I used Kahoot to compare in between the different methods that I practiced. And I realized that using, for example, active techniques, active learning techniques in the classroom would enhance the students' interest, would enhance the students' participation, and would make them would want to learn more about thermodynamics. What I also did is I used the discussion board so that they can think thermodynamics even outside the classroom. I also asked them, how often do you want to use Kahoot? And I also received a very positive feedback about not only thermodynamics, but also because I taught other courses as well, and they were all received positively. I mean, these practices. So Kahoot can be used as a method for assessment, and can be used as a method to gauge the students' comprehension while having them on board as well. So today, I would like to kindly ask you to go to Kahoot it, please. You don't have to download anything. I'm going to type it here. And in a moment, just go and log into this website. In a moment, I'm going to share my screen. I prepared a survey, and we will see who's going to win today. Just a sample of how do we engage students in the classroom, and how do we get them on board with these activities. And these quizzes or surveys, they can be designed to measure, they can be graded or not graded. It depends on your preference. So I will share my screen in a moment, and I would greatly appreciate it if you just type in the pin and use a nice nickname, and then we will play.
Okay. What is the pin, Amani?
Yes, I'm going to, this will show in a moment. So here, I have prepared Kahoot. Can you all see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, excellent. So I'll choose this. I'm not able to see your questions right now, but I promise I'll answer in a moment. What you need to do is to go to Kahoot it and enter this pin, please. So we see a winner. wait for more players?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, yes,
yeah, we
yes.
have 6.
Yes. I will wait for more players. Another just 1 minute, maybe.
We can start playing. We have 6 people.
Oh, okay, okay. Can we start now? Anyone else
Yes.
would like to join? Okay. Okay,
More
so
chances to win.
okay, so let us see. So I designed it as a quiz, and I chose the answers based on my opinion. So how do you feel overall about distance education? Okay, so I chose this as the right answer, but so we'll see who. So Salam is in the first place.
That's fun.
So how much time do you spend each day on preparing for an average distance education lecture or quiz? Okay, so 1, 2, 3 hours. Okay, that's, I know it's time consuming. And we have Z, 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 first place. How effective has distance learning been for you? Well, okay, so yeah, let us see who is winning this. Again, Z, 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 Z. And the last question, how stressful is distance learning for you during this pandemic? Okay, so, okay, that's good. So this is my favorite part. So please bear with me. So let us see who is on the third place. We have the winner. The second place goes to DRJ, Dr. J. And we have a winner. So, and we have runners up, Salam and. So this is basically how. So this is just in brief, how do I conduct Kahoot? Yes, congratulations to ZZZZ. So this is basically how do I get students engaged in the classroom. And apparently, well, I have tried that at different levels, and apparently students love that.
Yeah.
Even for the first year when I teach NGN 110 sometimes, this would get them on board and actually participate in answering questions. So yes, this is pretty much it for today.
Thank you
And
so
I'm
much,
almost,
Amani.
it's 5:01, so.
It's good. It's good. Thank you so much. And the reason that I
Thank
reserved you to the end is because I know that we're going to have a lot of fun playing Kahoot.
And we already discussed the prize, right, Norita?
I wish I can send everyone something today.
Yes, I know.
Okay,
So thank you for
thank you
having
so
me.
much. Yeah, I think this is a perfect way. I mean, especially for classes, like you said, it's thermodynamic is very, very difficult. And this is one way to integrate a fun gaming kind of perspective, gamification into the
Yes.
classroom. Yeah.
Mhm.
So
Yes,
that's really, really
absolutely.
nice.
Yeah,
Okay.
I agree. Yes.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you so much, Amani. Thank you so much, everybody, for being here. I
My
mean, looking at
pleasure.
the time. Yeah, I did not really
Thank
want
you.
to
Thank you
make
all
people
so
stay.
much. Have a pleasant evening.
Right. Thank you so much, everybody. So like I said, this
Thank
is
you.
the end
Thank
of
you very
Thank you,
much.
Raja.
virtual.
Thank you,
Thank
Dr.
you.
I'll
Igor.
see you guys
Thank you,
next
everyone.
year.
Thank you, Teresa.
We finish on time, no?
You,
Thank you.
Dr. Jeff.
Yeah.
Happy
Dr. Igor,
holiday.
Happy holiday.
what's happy holidays. But one last thing,
Thank you.
what's ironic is I studied architecture, Dr. Igor, before
Yeah,
before I
really.
go to chemical engineering. So if I had, maybe if we had this platform, Miro, like before at my time, maybe I wouldn't change my major. So who knows?
Well, always in time.
Yes, yeah. So that was lovely.
It's a good
Yes,
Thank you
combination.
so much.
yes.
Thank you.
It's a lot of fun
Thank you
today.
all.
Thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you,
Thank
Dr.
you very
Abir. Happy
much.
holidays,
Appreciate it.
everyone.
Thank
Bye
you.
bye.
Bye.
Take
Bye.
care.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank